And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Cobrin's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Phone number 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Like the man said, you are listening to and watching The Bald Truth, self-help radio for guys. And of course, unfortunately for girls who get it, 2/3 of men by the age of 35 will suffer with some degree of hair loss. 40% of hair loss sufferers are women, believe it or not. It's insane. I say that every week for the last 14 years. But, we tend to neglect the ladies out there that are or who are dealing with hair loss, unfortunately. And when I say neglect, society doesn't really notice or realize how many women are dealing with common androgenetic alopecia, hair loss, just like guys. But women cover it a lot better than us. They're allowed to wear falls and wigs and all that stuff and extensions. And, it's really socially acceptable for women to wear hair. But what most people don't realize is that a lot of women who are wearing hair, who you think might be, just doing it for a fashion statement, are really dealing with hair loss, just like dudes, just like guys. And the reason I bring that up today, and I bring that up a lot, is because we have just been getting inundated. Relatively recently, we've always been inundated to some degree with questions from women who are dealing with hair loss. But I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the summertime, and a lot of women are just going through maybe more of a seasonal shed. Whatever it is, it's insane how many questions we're getting through all of our resources, including Bald Truth Talk and the American Hair Loss Association, and of course the Bald Truth website. So that's why it's kind of like at the forefront of my opening today. It's something I've been thinking about. I read a lot of really sad emails from some pretty young girls. One girl was 19 years old, sent me a set of pictures, and this is, stone cold fox, beautiful, beautiful young girl. Covers her head with makeup, and she is obviously ultra concerned about what her future holds as far as her appearance, and how she's going to be able to cover this up for very much longer, because it's a pretty rapid progression, at least according to her. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. So I want you people who are tuning in for the first time, who don't know who I am or why I'm here. Again, if I haven't said this already, I'm a consumer advocate for men and women suffering with hair loss, author of The Bald Truth, Truth About Women's Hair Loss, founder of the American Hair Loss Association, and this is your safe place to get completely objective information when it comes to anything and everything hair loss. And you need to know that we're not selling any products or services here. I'm not here to try to sell you surgery or anything that when it comes to doing something to treat your hair or your hair loss. What I'm trying to do is educate you guys, provide you with a safe platform to vent, to call in, to talk about these issues, and to get information on, what's coming down the pike, cutting edge treatments, and really help you guys to navigate through this incredibly treacherous industry. Do you know there are about 1,500 hair transplant surgeons or doctors who claim to be skilled hair transplant surgeons who have hung up their shingle across North America? And currently there are less than 60 doctors that I could recommend who are doing state-of-the-art surgical hair restoration. And I'll tell you why that's even more screwed up, because that's a pretty screwed up statistic. But, I founded an organization called the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. Those of you who have been around for a while know about it. And, every doctor, every member of this organization, once they're accepted, pay me an annual screening fee of a minimum of $12,000. Now, let's do the math. There are 1,500 doctors out there. I would love to be able to take all of their money. I would love to be able to take half of those 1,500 doctors. It would still appear to be selective. But sadly, I can't. And we get applications from all over the world every month. Not making use of hyperbole, no exaggeration. And every doctor has check in hand. So, it has to be a crazy, it's a crazy industry. You can only imagine how bad it is out there if we can't accept their money, if we can't accept them into the organization. If they're so bad at what they do that we wouldn't even put them on a list. Sadly, that's the vast majority of this field, in my view. And when it comes to products and services that claim to treat hair loss, $3.5 billion a year industry, 2 products that are FDA approved work. 1 product that's FDA approved for another application works. Actually, 2 products now. That's it. I'm losing my voice, by the way. That's it. And every lotion and potion, snake oil, everything that you see advertised on the radio or hear advertised on the radio or in the back of a magazine or on the internet, you have to understand that these products are questionable at best and most likely bullshit. Let me give out the phone number, 888-659-3727. Just want to let everyone know it's great to be here. I was not in L.A. last week. I was traveling to see my ailing father. And for those of you out there who are listening who expect me to give them a call when I'm in New York, just deal with it. I'm busy. I'm dealing with other shit. God, I know I'm going to get shit from somebody about this. 888-659-3727 is the phone number. Give us a call here at The Bald Truth. If you have any questions, concerns about your hair loss, please feel free to call us. That's what we're here for. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
I come to one conclusion. This tragic disease of hair loss is the disease that keeps on giving pain, misery, and suffering every moment of your goddamn life, and it makes me sick. Releasing this pain. God, please.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
My name is excuse me. My name is
Would you like to may I reiterate it?
My name is
Have you heard it? Excuse me.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
Joe, you got to come up with something different. This is like 2 weeks.
Man,
It's like 2 weeks in a row with the same opening.
No, it's actually still reflective. I'm still, in shock over that post from Eddie that I read. That poor young man, 26 years of age, is on the verge of taking his life. He hasn't already. Just, so touched by it.
Well, look, the truth of the matter is that's not an uncommon story. You know how I was. The reason I do what I do is because when I was 21 and I started to realize I was losing my hair, I mean, it was like being, hit in the head with a baseball bat. It was in such shock. You're a little different case than I was. But, I mean, it came out of nowhere, and it was devastating for me. Devastating. None of my contemporaries at that time were dealing with hair loss. I felt like I was all alone. Every product provider, service provider, every hair transplant doctor I went to, honestly, in my view, wanted to rip me off, take advantage of me. And I had a full head of hair. I was just starting to go through the initial throes of hair loss, just going through the process of dealing with it. And, I know how devastating it is for a 20-year-old or 21-year-old to start to see his hairline eroding and his appearance and his confidence eroding along with his hairline. And that's why we do what we do here, man. So, what is his name? David that you're talking to? David, if you are listening and if you're, out there, please, give us a call here, 888-659-3727. And we'll try to give you some advice.
Well, let me just give you a little comment. I have some news to report on tonight, but just let me give you a little brief comment. You know, I'm constantly reading these stories on the BaldTruth.com of these young hair loss sufferers. I have to re-emphasize what I said last week. Listen, you guys got your youth. In a few years, there will be a viable treatment, if not a cure. So you have something to look forward to. People in my position, and George from Mobile, Johnny from Ohio, our youth was stolen from us, and we can never get it back, no matter what treatment comes down the pike. So you young cats out there, please, don't do anything rash.
You know, but there are guys out there that have done stuff that, you know, sadly, you know, I've been, you know, I've read so many emails over the years, thousands and thousands, and I can't even count how many emails that have come through our resources. And there are, again, it's not atypical. You read a lot of suicide notes or suicidal thoughts in these emails. And I think it's important that society understand that. That's why this show is so important, to get this message out there that, you know what, hair loss is not the end of the world. But for some people, it's the end of their world. It throws them into... Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I have to include myself in your comment.
Right. I mean, there are guys that are better equipped to deal with it than others. Guys that once they start to lose their hair, their looks may change, but they don't necessarily erode. It's not something that is necessarily going to destroy their ability to interact with others or their confidence. They may be draw their confidence from other things. And the fact is, if they don't look that bad, they kind of just shrug their shoulders and like, oh, you know what, such is life. This is something that I'll deal with, and they'll still get the women and all that stuff. But a lot of us, for guys like me, who would look like Kane from Kung Fu if he shaved his head, or, you know, some guy from the future, it doesn't work.
Well, I think on a personal level, I think you're a very handsome guy, and I think you can pull it off.
Well, that's I appreciate that, Joe, and that's very nice of you. But the reason you might find me to be passable is because I do have a significant amount of hair left. Without it, in my view, I wouldn't feel that comfortable. Now, granted, I'm 46 years old now. Things are different. Maybe I can shave my head and wear like a cool, you know, beanie or some sort of hat and, you know, grow different facial hair configuration and get away with it. But at 21, 22 years old, man, I was not prepared for that, especially back in my day, in our days, when, you know, hair was everything. But so many kids still feel this way, Joe. So many kids still feel this way. It's not just me. Poor Andrew Zarian is concerned about his hair where he doesn't need to be. But yeah, go ahead.
I have to emphasize again to the young cats are listening right now. You guys, in a few years, you're going to have something. Your youth is still there. My youth was stolen from me. Our youth, George, the list goes on, Johnny. Our youth was stolen from us. We'll never get it back. You guys got a big shot at life. Our life was taken from us. Keep that in mind, guys.
Well,
girls.
While we keep that in mind, Joe, I'm going to take another call. Unless you have.
Well, I have some news. Breaking news before.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I have to get I'm going to have to get a new I'm going to have to get a new breaking news thing for you, bumper.
Well, it's not really major news, but it is very encouraging news.
All right, let's hear it.
Scott Woodcup, the head of research and development at Allergan, was the main speaker in Allergan's second quarter results on a news conference, and he was discussing some little interesting things about the adipose lattice, the new drug. He said that he really made a big deal of it. He said phase 2 trials are going very well right now. There's 600 people on them, okay? What he would want to do is jump right into phase 3 trials as soon as possible. I think he slipped up and let something out of the bag by saying that.
You think he was drinking?
No, he didn't seem to be drinking.
I'm just kidding, dude. I'm just kidding.
He said it'll be a great, revenue enhancer for the company. And let me give you one quote. He said, Allergan is putting optimal resources into research and development of his hair loss drug.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's going to be a new patented drug that we know is going to work. We don't know to what degree. So, I mean, why wouldn't they? You know, why wouldn't they? They've already gotten through the FDA for eyelashes. This is going to be a much simpler process, and they know that it's so exciting because all we have for years is Rogaine and Propecia, and guys are shit scared of Propecia because of what's been going on online, the insanity that's been going on online, in my opinion. So they are primed. If I was in their position, man, I mean, I would know. I would be primed to put this on the market. I would know how much money is to be made, because so many people are afraid of what's really effective out there right now, which is finasteride, that anything new people are going to try and they're going to jump on.
Right. But they also must be aware of the fact that the window will be closing really fast. Of course, the competition is breathing down their necks.
It doesn't make a difference.
You know, so
if it's 5 years, if it's a blockbuster drug like Viagra was, if they market it correctly, which they can, they have an opportunity, then the money, you know, they'll recoup whatever they spent getting it FDA approved, and which isn't as much as, which won't be as much as they did, in my view, for Latisse originally, because it's already been FDA approved for one application. And they can have a really successful drug for 5 years.
Right, but even if we come out with hair multiplication or something like that, a lot of people will be afraid of surgical intervention if it could be, you know, you can't have an unlimited donor.
Well,
there is a segment of the population.
But that's the market. That's the market. I do agree with that, Joe. And that was a very lucid, well thought out interpretation of what's really going on. And that's the truth.
I appreciate that.
People will, the guys who are young will jump on something like this that might be, and I'm not saying it is, more effective than Rogaine, a topical that has been used for glaucoma and then for eyelash growth and now for this, that's been on the market for years, even though it's going to be a different concentration. They will jump on something like that before they pop the pill, which I think is a big mistake, you know, if they really want to save their hair. Or, and I'm not saying that Allergan's product won't be effective, but I'm saying right now I think Propecia is the most effective drug we have. Or they'll do whatever they can. They'll even buy the snake oils before they go in for surgical intervention. And a lot of people won't have the money, even if it's more effective than it is currently. Then, you know, we could have unlimited donor supply. People won't have the money to do it.
Right. Well, you know, limited donor supply, like I think is coming, like I always say, will be a surgical cure rather than a pharmaceutical cure. You know, you agree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, you could get.
So, Joe, are you having problems with my phone right now? Because I understand it just went. I just kind of broke up.
You are breaking up slightly, yes. A little bit, nothing really a rash.
Okay.
Now, one more piece of news I have to give our listeners. I'm very encouraged with this also. Folliker last month posted online, I just got information on this today, a massive amount of material on their patents. You know, that was like 5 pages. I can't even, you know, discuss it. We need about 5 shows just to get into all the stuff there. I couldn't even decipher half of the material. The bottom line is they're saying they'll be abrading the scalp, adding a certain chemical, and creating new, not waking up dormant hair follicles, but creating new hair follicles. This is what they're saying in their patent.
Well, I think that's, you know, we know about that. So, you know, I mean, at least I did, and I thought that we discussed this before.
Well, a new patent just came out last month. This is like 5 pages.
Right.
It's on free patents. It's on free for our listening audience. It's on free patents.
You know what I think would be funny. I don't mean to cut you off. If you were to I could record you reading the patent, and I'll just put it on the site. The 5 pages.
Well, it's US 2011011307 for any of our listeners who would like to dissect this report, because it will take several days just to absorb it all.
Yeah.
And I'm not a scientist, as you know, so I couldn't decipher half of it.
No, but you could read it, and I think people will get a kick out of you reading it. But listen, I'm going to take another phone call. Hold on, as usual, and I'll keep you potted up, all right?
Thank you.
All right. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
I'm devastated you came to New York and we didn't get together.
Oh, come on. Now, we can't lie. We can't lie to people. I already told Joe on the phone that I was called to New York kind of like on a last-minute basis. last minute situation with my dad, and you would not leave me alone until we hooked up. I mean, hung
Yeah,
out.
that's the story.
Yeah.
Andrew gave you right up, Spencer, man. He gave you right up.
Yeah.
I know, and that's all a lie, Joe. He said, listen, I'm going to come to New York. Don't tell Joe.
Yeah. Come on.
No, the truth is...
Joe's my man.
No, the truth is I found out actually the day of that you were in town, and I was in the city, and I said, let's grab dinner.
That's right.
That was it.
You swung by, and we went out. But, we're doing business together now, so...
Yeah, so it was more like a meeting.
Plus, you're always hounding me.
Oh, me always hounding you. How's my backlight? What happened to the other light? You turned it off?
Which other light?
The one to the other side.
What other side?
You have two of them. You turn one off.
Oh, I had two of them just one time when I was doing a show with you. I decided I didn't like it.
Okay.
Too much like yours. Too much like yours. So what? So how are the phones now?
It got really crappy at one point, but it's okay now.
Okay,
but it's like every now and then, it's like a hiccup here and there.
Yeah, I think what happens is, there's someone like down the block, some kid down the block looking at porn or Netflix or something, and it just screws up my bandwidth.
You know what? It got bad as soon as you moved to the new place.
I know. There's a lot more kids looking at porn in this particular neighborhood, I think.
And that's what it is.
A lot of older people where I was living before.
But it's all right. You said you're going to get a new line, so you'll fix it.
I am. Hopefully we'll get that done this week. But I think it's a little better than it has been. So anyway, what's happening? Anything new?
Nothing. I wanted to call in if you wanted to bring up the whole incident at dinner.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about it.
Let's tell that story. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell the story.
Everybody's saying my audio's a little too loud. I don't know why. So we went out to dinner, and Jessica went through your phone and deleted stuff.
Hold on, I'm lowering your audio. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
is that better?
It was more than just. I mean, I had taken a picture of these guys. A little keepsake from the dinner. A nice little keepsake to my friends that took me out. Very nice.
I call it proof.
Proof. Okay. Whatever you want to call it. I don't think Yvette needs the proof, but whatever. But yeah, when she sees the credit card bill or whatever, but you paid for this, so there's no credit card bill. So anyway.
Yeah.
I take this picture and Jess asked to see it. So I show it to her. I give her my phone. I show it to her, and I see her looking through all of my pictures. But what I didn't know is that before she took a look, she browsed through all my pictures and videos. She actually trashed that picture because apparently Jess didn't like the way she looked.
No, she deleted the picture, and she does that all the time. She'll be like, oh, you have a new iPhone. Can I see it? And everybody's like, yeah, sure, here you go. And she just goes through pictures and deletes them.
Yeah, that's my phone. That's my picture, my personal picture that I took of my friends. That I wanted a little keepsake. Maybe I would have put it on Facebook or sent it to Suncast.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Suncast might have I think he would have liked to see it.
It was a nice little picture of you guys.
Maybe Joe would wanted to see it.
Whatever,
Johnny from Ohio definitely would want to see it.
Yeah. And so I had told Andrew this before that I had, I've been working out a little bit, or losing weight, and exercising, swimming more and stuff like that. And that I've been doing some P90X, which, as everyone knows, is like the big, DVD exercise craze. And then people take like before and after videos and they send them out to the company, or they have it on Facebook and stuff like that. And I was just kind of doing it for my own consumption. I wasn't planning on sending it to anybody.
It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
So, it's on my camera. I happen to say that Yvette was going through my camera, my phone, and she found my P90X, video, and she said I was a lunatic. So apparently Jess wanted to see that. Or she was looking for it, whatever it is, because the story sounded funny.
Is that what did she? We had told her the story right before.
We told her the story, and she searched for it.
Yeah, and she found it.
And she found it.
And she started laughing.
It was unbelievable. Are you all right, Joe?
Excuse me?
Are you okay?
I'm just listening. I'm trying to digest this. I'm trying to figure out how your meeting was.
Okay. Well, we'll let you know. So yeah, So, I was like kind of making a mirror face and trying to flex and stuff like that.
No, you were doing the MySpace picture with like the puckered up lips, and like your shorts were a little pulled down. Like you had your thumb in your shorts and they were pulled down a little bit.
Right. I was looking at but it was for me. It wasn't for you. It wasn't for Jess. It wasn't for anybody. I wasn't going to send it to anybody.
At first, when you told the story about like that finding the picture, I thought like, you just tell me on air, and then she found the picture.
Yeah.
And I saw the picture, and it's exactly what you described. First of all, you're crazy, Jack. Like you don't see it in on the shot, but I'm just going to tell the viewers, like, you are crazy in shape.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
Like you got the huge chest thing going. Like you're like almost like a bodybuilder.
No, my chest is not huge. It's just it has good.
No,
definition.
you got like a big chest. No,
really.
It's big.
Well, I appreciate that.
And you got the super tan thing going. You were wearing a hat in the picture,
dude. I just got out of the pool, so I met a hat.
By the way, Spence.
Yeah.
Froggy in the chat room is exactly right. It was the wiener pose.
No, it was the wiener pose without the wiener showing, though.
Yeah, no. It was the wiener pose without the wiener, but like the one that like he's tightening the chest, and
right.
It's the exact Anthony Weiner pose without the wiener.
Yeah. So to make it long, and I appreciate calling me jacked and all that stuff. I didn't really know what jacked was. To me, jacked is when you're screwed up, jacked up. But now in the young vernacular, what we called buff or yoked is now jacked.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. So,
very impressive, Spence.
I will never. If you guys are here, I'm not even going to take off my clothes at the pool. I'm going to be wearing like a robe the whole time.
You bet. You know what? When we come there, you better keep everything away because Jess will go through the pictures.
Oh, dude, everything would be under lock and key, man.
You're lucky you didn't have anything like sexual in there.
Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't use my phone for that. That's what the flip cam's for.
I don't know. Maybe she got jealous because I saw Chauncey's penis this week on his phone. I went through his phone because he was like, "Oh, listen, can you look at this picture? Isn't it funny?" And I look, and like my finger hit side, and it was like his flaccid penis.
Yeah, and that would throw me over the edge. I don't think that I would be able to deal with that. But Joe wants to know about the meeting. Forget about that the picture. It was a little embarrassing, honestly, because it just felt like a weird thing. It's like it was my own private thing. I just happened to be telling the story. I had no intention of. I just had no idea that she would go through my phone. I couldn't even. I love Jess, but I just couldn't believe the unmitigated audacity.
She's a little obnoxious.
No, it wasn't obnoxious, and it didn't really bother me. I was just a little embarrassed. Like I wouldn't have had that face if I thought if I was going to take a picture of myself or have a picture of myself like at the beach, I wouldn't have had that crazy face that I was doing.
How upset would you have been if she had seen it without the hat? Like if it was just like you getting out of bed without a hat?
Not that upset. It was I would have been more upset because I just got out of the pool. So, from the front, you probably wouldn't. It would just look weird. It wouldn't look like I was that bald from the front. But if I had an overhead shot, you would see the whole sham would have been revealed. I don't know. But she may have forwarded the video to herself. I got to check that out. Next thing I know,
maybe she did.
The next thing I know, it's going to be on Facebook.
She might have it.
Jesus. You know what? That's how paranoid I am. That scares me a little bit.
Weren't we just talking, like, right before, during our meeting dinner, we were talking about how, like, people hack cell phones by, like, just walking by.
Yeah.
They could get, like, your picture and stuff. So, she didn't even have to do that. She just grabbed your phone.
I would have had to have my Bluetooth on.
Yeah.
And I keep that off.
Joe, you missed the great dinner.
I was telling Joe... Joe, I'm sorry, Joe. Joe called early, as usual, and I happened to pick up the phone because I knew it was him. And I happened to tell Joe that we were talking about you at the dinner. I was talking about, we were all talking for about 10 minutes talking about you.
Yeah.
And that you definitely need to go to the Sapphire Club on Wednesday nights to hang out. And when I'm in town, which could be in a couple of weeks, actually, pretty soon, maybe less than 2 weeks, and God forbid if I have another emergency, it'll be sooner, we should all hook up there. We should all hang out. All right, Joe?
It's not always easy for me, to get out, as you probably know.
You can't pump yourself up with some drugs and some booze and get out of the house just to hang out with us?
Well, depends, now that you're going back to work.
Joe, take a handful of Quaaludes and just come out.
No, I won't be working that. I won't work that now. I'll hang out with you, Joe. We'll just kind of hang out, and watch the show.
Quaaludes still exists?
I don't think Quaaludes exist. I think they made some sort of bogus Quaaludes.
Oh, they're not around anymore? I'm sure Joe would have them.
You can probably find them online from somewhere in India. I don't know.
Froggy, just 357.
Froggy, thank you for asking. Actually, to be completely candid, my father's not okay. He's, he's just coming to a point where, he's lived a long life and he's, I don't know how long he's going to be around. It could be, you got to live day by day. It could be weeks. It could be months. Or for all I know, he can kind of be in this state for another 5 years. I don't know. But I appreciate.
Is he physically ill, or is it physical?
It's both. It's both. He's not. It's not like he's infested or having some dealing with cancer or anything like that. Even though he's had lymphoma, it's just old age, man. His dementia setting in. His body is just not functioning the way that it did. He cannot move around the way he needs help doing everything basically. And, a lot of depression like he had before, but it's even worse now. But he's also not all there completely. So, maybe that's God's way of kind of making it a little easier for him. You know what I mean?
Is he suffering from Alzheimer's at all? You're aware of?
Hold on. What the hell is going on? Yeah. Someone's texting me saying Stickam has ads now. Get an ads filter, dude.
Who wrote that?
A buddy of mine from college, from my short stint at Penn State. Unbelievable. You never know who's watching this show or listening. That's what's crazy.
By the way, I've gotten a ton of feedback from viewers because I don't know if your viewers know. I'm sure many of them do, but now the Bold Truth is syndicated on the GFQ network.
Absolutely, and I was about to go into that whole spiel, but you kind of you bulldozed me there.
I'm kind of the boss now, right? I have to make sure you hit the spot.
Absolutely. 2 minutes late. Guys from Queens Network, GFQ Network, the GFQ Broadcasting Network, which is like what I'd like to call it, is now internationally syndicating the Bald Truth. What that means is the Bald Truth not only can be listened to and heard through our original resources, but and watched and viewed, but now it can be seen on Ustream.com, on Justin TV, on Livestream, where else, Andrew?
Stitcher. Actually, you know what I was doing last week? I think it was Wednesday night when I was in the car. I was driving home, and there was nothing on the radio. It was like 10 o'clock at night. No, it was like 11 o'clock. I'm like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Stitcher, and I hit the live feed button, and I listened to the Bald Truth in the car while I was driving home, and it was great.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I have to say, and I'm sorry for everybody who's still stuck in radio, but radio's dying.
Yeah,
I was in radio for 13 years, terrestrial and satellite radio, and I can tell you now, if I had the choice, I actually stopped paying my subscription to Sirius XM. And if I had the choice and the ability to get internet radio in my car, which I do, what are you going to choose? You have thousands of broadcasts to choose from. It's just amazing. And it's free.
And it's totally free. And, we had Dr. Drew in New York for a couple of, maybe like a month.
Yeah, he died there.
And it was great at night because it was some great, radio to listen to at night, but there's absolutely nothing. And I said, let me check out Stitcher, and my Droid connects directly to my Infinity. I just hit it comes with like an audio cable, and I just plug it in, and boom, it was in the car, and it was unbelievable. It was great.
Yeah, so I'm going to put all that information on the Bald Truth website. If you go to thebaldtruth.com right now, you'll see 2 embedded archived broadcasts, the entire broadcast. GFQ guys did all the work. Suncast from the GFQ network did all the work, obviously, and it's incredible. I'm already getting emails from people from around the world wishing that we had done this before. But you know how I am, Andrew. I
know it took me a year, and that was part of our meeting. We were talking about that. I've been working on Spence for an entire year. on letting me syndicate the Bold Truth, and he finally said
you have
okay.
to understand, before you gave me the paperwork, before we were able to put everything in writing, you're a nice guy, we're all buddy and everything, but business is business. And I had to make sure, we were dotting our I's and crossing our T's. And
no, well, how many pages was that contract? No kidding, like 15, 16 pages.
It was ridiculous, but you have to understand my point of view. I understand your point of view, and I've been doing this for a long time. This has been my baby for a long time. To do this has been a big step. It was one thing when I was being syndicated through like the Health Radio Network, and they were syndicating the program on local AM stations across the country, but I had a contract with them, and what happened? And they end up locally playing ads for like Avicor and other products.
No, we don't do that here.
Right. Now, I can't help what companies like, Stickam will throw up. That's a different story. I need to use that feed. But, when you have a contract with a company and all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, what's going on? Same thing happened with XM. All of a sudden I'm getting emails saying that they're running Avicor ads, not just around the program, but during the show. And that was a big no-no. So, hopefully you don't screw me. I'm just kidding, dude.
No. I'll only put local horrible doctors.
Yeah, local bad doctors, and maybe products that I'm unaware of.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, guys.
Something. You know what I'm going to do? You'll never know. Maybe like in 2 years from now, the show makes a huge success, and I start bottling some like magic pill in India with your face on it.
Well, that's not even funny that you said that, because something like that has happened.
Has it really?
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Yeah, and it was a big pain in the ass to deal with, and it wasn't in India. It was another country to deal with that. And I also have doctors all over the world that steal the IHRS seal and the American Hair Loss Association seal. Most recently, it was in Pakistan. And I have had guys actually here in the U.S., a guy down South Florida that was really trumpeting the fact that he was an IHRS member. And if this guy applied, he wouldn't have the balls to apply to my organization, because he knows that he'd just be, trashed. Well, not trashed. I'm not going to say that. I wouldn't trash the guy, but he wouldn't be accepted. How's that? So Johnny said you're going to screw me.
He said I better kiss you.
Yeah.
Before I screw you. So.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
But the show is now also on iTunes. So if you use iTunes,
all right, do me a favor. Do a rundown of where people can.
Okay, so this is what we'll do. So pretty much, if you want to watch live every Sunday night and in replays, because the show replays throughout the entire week, you can go to jfqlive.tv. We have a Justin TV Ustream live stream feed. If you want to listen on the go, you can listen on Stitcher Radio. We also have a live audio feed if you're low on bandwidth. You can listen on Stitcher Radio, Livio, TuneIn Radio. So pretty much it's everywhere. You're on the Roku. So once the show is published on our website, it's on Roku. So you can even watch on your TV.
Which is insane.
On Roku, it's Sony.
It's like effing black magic when you tell me these things. I don't even know how this would work.
It just, I snap my fingers and Suncast comes in a wizard hat and he just twirls his wand around and he gets it done.
It's unbelievable. We got to pay for Suncast to have a different background though.
Yeah.
In his house, because that is just so depressing. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's like an insane asylum.
Yeah.
Had it actually, the wall. Oh, he's gonna pull his curtain now. Watch, he's gonna pull the curtain.
Dude, much better. And what's even crazier is there's a shower curtain in his room. That's what's insane.
He got it from Walmart, $13.84. I saw the price.
That's awesome, man.
We got you're on TiVo. You're on TiVo.
Yeah.
You're on Sony. You're on Boxy. You're on YouTube, Blip, Vimeo. You're on everything you could possibly imagine. You're syndicated on over 150 distribution sites.
Well, I just want to let and Joe's listening to this, and if you haven't realized this, Joe, if we're syndicated, that means you're syndicated, and
everybody hears them.
Millions of more people are going to be hearing your voice and learning about Joe from Staten Island and reading about whatever you're talking about online, and it's pretty exciting.
Sounds very exciting.
Joe, I just want to say, and to all the viewers, it's very important. If you guys are a fan of the show, subscribe to the show. on iTunes. It's on iTunes now. So if you go to iTunes, you can hit the subscribe button. It's a huge help for the show, and it keeps you up to date with everything that's happening in On the Bald Truth.
So there
I'm like a walking ad. I feel weird when I do this. Like, I really feel like gross when I'm giving out plugs like this.
You're not plugging. You're plugging an important show. You're plugging a program. No pun intended, Joe. That is changing people's lives. It's a support group for those of us who, don't get support during the week. I mean, it's a crazy little show, man. And
one thing I did get, Spence, and all kidding aside, I got an email from a 23-year-old kid that just discovered the show in Ireland.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
And he said in the email that he didn't even know there was a show like this out there, and he feels like he belongs to a group now because he's been listening for about 2 weeks now.
Wow.
Because he found it on iTunes. He put in hair loss on iTunes, and it came up. And he feels that, it's great that somebody that's an unbiased person, a consumer advocate, is discussing this, because a lot of times, there are doctors out there that are doing it, and they talk about specific things that they could do for you, but there's no general talk show or just like an open forum for hair loss sufferers.
Well, that's really nice of him, and that's, listen, I'm glad he was.
And that's one of many, Spence. That's one of many. I've gotten a bunch of young kids, one 19-year-old kid, one 18-year-old kid, another 27-year-old kid, just sending me emails about the show and how they just found it.
Yeah, I got a lot of chicks actually writing me, which is a good thing. It makes me feel relevant in that world of, that sexual world, being almost 50. So I think
that does matter.
I thank you for that, man. But
I got emails about Joe.
You know what? That's funny, Joe. Joe was written up in like New York Magazine, and where else was he written up? GQ Magazine and a couple of other places that they wrote about the program. Actually, in the Washington Post, which was a very interesting and controversial article in 2003, they wrote about Joe from Staten Island. And your wife doesn't believe how much publicity you get, Joe, right?
No, she believes that I'm imagining. I'm like psychotic in her opinion.
Well, I mean, does she want to see it? You showed her something, I think, from the New York Times. What did you show her last time? It was about you. Was it something from on my website?
No, I played an excerpt from thebaldtruth.com when Johnny Ohio was talking about me destined. They saying I should have my own show. That they look forward to listening to me. Millions of people listen to me every week. She says.
Well, Joe, if you would get your shit together, I would try to convince Andrew to do something with you on the network. Maybe little vignettes or something. Where you could read shit or do something.
Well, I suffer from a lot of physical as well as psychiatric problems, and
I have a lot of psychiatric problems too. Look what I do.
No, but you don't have the problems I have. So that's fantastic.
No, I appreciate that, and you know what? I feel very fortunate, to be honest, that we all have whatever depressed moments, depressed years. We all deal with the shit that we have to deal with. But I feel very fortunate that I've had this outlet for so long, and this whole show, all of you guys that are listening throughout the world, have helped me. This is cathartic for me to be able to do this, to get this information out there. So,
Joe, I made sure my camera was in high def today so I could show Spencer my hair because I thought I had a bald spot.
Yeah, Jesus, this guy's got so much hair, Joe. It's unreal.
Well, I won't get into that.
I showed Jess the paint job. She's like, it's funny. Every time you say that you paint your head, especially around a woman, they look at you in sheer mortification. There's something.
Your hair looks great. Nobody could tell. Well, no, it looks great.
I appreciate that, but it's like they could put so much makeup on their face. They can do, have lashes on and all kinds of stuff. You tell a woman that you put makeup on your head, and there's something wrong with you. I don't know.
It's a bizarre double standard that the society promulgates.
It is. Promulgates. You said promulgates. Listen, Andrew. Propagates or perpetuates. Andrew, man, listen, thank you, man. And just, by the way, Jess looked fantastic that night. And even though the picture didn't do her justice, it wasn't even that bad.
By the way, was she a little overdressed, be honest?
Honestly, no. I think she was over-concerned about being overdressed. You have to understand one thing about that restaurant is, I have seen people walk in there with suits on and, coming from, different events and, women in really, really, really well dressed and people just walking in there in jeans and a T-shirt.
No, she looked like she was getting ready to go to Webster Hall for New Year's.
She was
wearing like a black mini skirt with like a gold top.
She was a little sparkly. She was a little.
Yeah,
sparkly.
She looked great. I mean, she looked great, but it was a little overdressed.
No, she was slamming. She had like a satin mini skirt with kind of like a silver quasi sequined top on. With I don't know if she wears eyelashes or if she just has really long eyelashes, but she was totally done.
Yeah, we had really good sex that night.
Yeah, I bet, man. I bet.
Yeah, we actually went out drinking afterwards, and I was good to go.
I bet I did too, but I was alone. But I bet, man.
So what does that mean, Spencer? So you're alone? You can still have sex?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Joe, I believe that was a masturbation joke.
Yeah. I just don't. I just don't want to explain it.
Joe, by the way, we have new sound clips of you that I was hoping that Spencer would debut today, but I don't think he has it in the Prophet system.
Yeah, who says slamming these days? Suncast. A 46-year-old man says slamming.
I say slamming.
That's who says it.
You say dope.
Dope. I still say dope. And dope is new for me. It's like I'm 15 years old, 10 years old. I still say dope.
No, but I say slamming, dope. It's a New York thing, I guess.
I say Stone Cold Fox. That dates me.
Yeah, very bridge and tunnel. What were you bridge and tunnel this week?
Not really. I mean, you had kind of like a black shirt on that had like little pinstripes, slightly bridge and tunnel, but it still was. I mean, you looked really good. So it's. I guess certain parts of Manhattan they would wear that.
Okay. Okay. Just want to make sure.
No, I think you were fine, man. I think you guys are fine. All right, man. Listen, I'm going to.
Can I just actually take you to a nice restaurant? Can I just ask you that?
He took me to Carmine's. They took me to Carmine's on the Upper West Side.
I've been there several times.
Yeah,
it's on 44th Street. That one.
Not that one. The one in the 91st and Broadway.
A lot of guys wear baseball caps in the restaurant.
There might have been a couple of guys wearing baseball caps.
There were a couple kids wearing baseball caps. So you would have been fine.
Oh wow, good. I would have fit right in.
Well, that's the thing. A restaurant like that, you can definitely wear a baseball cap, Joe. So we'll have to go. Now, will Joe be able to get into the club if he's wearing his hat?
100%. I've already told him about Joe. When I went there Wednesday, I thought he would show up, and I said, listen, this guy's going to come. His name is Joe from Staten Island. He's probably going to be wearing a baseball cap. Let him in and just take care of him. Not everything is on us. Don't charge him for a thing.
Hear that, Joe?
Would security try to pull my cap off? I'd be petrified.
No, they would never do that.
You know what? What you might have to do is you might have to send somebody out for Joe. You might have to wheel him in.
No, what they do, because whenever we have a guest, we let them know in the front, and the security actually escorts them to the studio.
Right.
Joe, you know what? If you come, I'll get you a limo to pick you up.
Did you hear that, Joe?
No, I don't need no. I wouldn't want to take advantage.
I'll get Sapphires to bring the Sapphires limo and pick you up.
Wow, my wife would be impressed by that.
Well, there you go. But your wife can't come. Only you.
No,
It's a one-person limo. It's like a smart car.
And you know what I'll do? I'll call TMZ and I'll call Getty Image to do a whole thing. When you walk in, they'll be snapping photos left and right, and then you can show that to your wife.
But that's the thing, though. He doesn't want any photos of him.
Yeah, but he's like a celebrity.
I know, but he doesn't want. He's really camera shy and crazy about that.
I'm petrified the hell surfers will find me.
Dude, I can tell you some stories. I actually got an email from Dave Salazzo today. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna put this out there. Remember Frank? Remember that guy Frank?
Creepy Frank?
Everyone. That's exactly. He's probably watching and listening right now. I told him that if he continued to do what he was doing, that I was going to contact the authorities. Well, you know what? It started again. I kind of sat back, and he was like, he sent me this email that it was forwarded to me, and he was very apologetic, and now it's starting to creep in again. There's something in New York, not just the city, the entire state, called aggravated harassment, When time is right, and I call the authorities, this guy can be arrested at his home. By the way, which we know where it is. We know where this guy lives. So currently he is, at least from the email that was sent to me, this person feels harassed. I certainly feel harassed. And there was one point where he was writing threatening emails, in my view. So, Frank, you were listening to this broadcast. You were watching me right now. I told you what was going to happen. I gave you the opportunity, and I'm shocked. Well, maybe I'm not shocked, but I'm shocked that you continued after a pretty decent amount of time to do what you're doing. I don't want to be specific on the air, but I had to put it out there.
As a retired police officer, Frank, I can assure you what Spencer's saying is correct. On his say-so, you will be arrested.
All I have to do is pick up the phone.
That's a fact.
It is a fact. I know. And New York has it's a very interesting law.
I need to start doing that, by the way. I need to start calling the cops on a few people.
Yeah, but they have to be in the city. They have to be in the state. They can't be out-of-state, lunatics. That are, you have a lot of out-of-state lunatics that are contacting you.
Well, if Frank thinks he doesn't have to answer his door, let me tell you something, my friend. They'll break your door down. That's a fact. I can show you.
That is a fact. Well, you know Joe, so I appreciate that. But listen, we're going to take some phone calls. Andrew, man.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you so much for
I appreciate it, guys.
It's great seeing you this week, and thanks. It was a good meeting. Thanks for dealing with that whole contract and stuff. I'm sorry it was such a pain in the ass, but I got to
listen. We had to negotiate. That's part of it. We had to get the lawyers involved, and that's how it works.
But I think it's going to be great for everybody. And you know what? I'm so happy that the show is now syndicated internationally online, and that I'm going to be putting up archives. I was not able to do that for a long time. Now the archives are up on thebaldtruth.com. They're up on guysfromqueens.com. You can see the archive, both see the video and listen to the audio, and you could also download the podcast directly from the site. And of course, you can see the archives and listen to the archives and download the podcast on iTunes. Is that correct?
Yes, that's perfect. But it's great when they subscribe, and it's a big help for us.
All right.
And I benefit from it, and you don't. So just do it for me.
Yeah, do it for Andrew.
Do it for me.
Subscribe to the Bald Truth for Andrew, so he stops.
And Spence, tell her that I'm going to send her that email, or I know she's going to start yelling at me.
Yeah, she's like, listen, dude. This guy wants to get started. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. He ignores me. I'm just kidding.
All right. I'll see you guys. Have a great show. Joe, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Take care, man.
Bye, Andrew. Good regards to your beautiful wife.
I will. She says hello, by the way.
All right, cool. Say hi for us.
All right. Bye.
888-659-3727 is the phone number. 888-659-3727. I usually take a break around this time, but we're going to take a couple of calls. Just in case you just tuned in, it's still the Hair Loss Show. So if you have any questions, concerns about your hair loss, just need to vent. If you're considering surgery, if you're about to sit down in someone's chair tomorrow and have surgery, please give us a call. We'll give you the information that you need to make an educated decision. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, Spence, what's up, bud? It's Mike from Miami. How are you?
Mike from Miami. What's going on, bro?
How you been, all right?
Yeah, good. Everything's good. How you been?
Been good. I haven't called in the show in a while.
I know. Good, good to hear you, man.
Running around, you know how it is, and taking care of some stuff. Everything's good, though.
That's great. Now, listen, now if you missed the program, if you can't watch it live or listen to it live, you can see the archives on the Bald Truth. You can go to iTunes, download the podcast. Complete programs are going to be out there for everyone to check out now.
Not bad at all. Not bad, man. Good stuff.
So what's happening?
I have couple quick questions. Has there been, any progress that you heard of from, a Histogen or any of those type of companies?
Well, there's been a little progress. Joe from Staten Island, let me pot him up. He can tell you the latest progress because Joe he gives us the Bald Truth report. Joe, you there?
Of course I'm here.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Joe? How are you?
Hey, Mike. Would you like me to take some time and give Mike what's happening?
Yes.
You don't have to. Just in general. I know there's a lot of other people waiting and stuff, but I'd like to know.
Well, are you familiar with Allergan Corporation? Or on Facebook trials now for Latisse, that Latisse that grows eyebrows?
Yeah, I've seen the commercials for it.
Well, you're not aware of all the studies going on showing that it grows.
Dude, to make it, just tell the guy in a pithy,
by 2013, you'll have a major topical on the market, which you get through a doctor's prescription, which grows, unknown. We don't know how much hair grows yet. I'm not gonna, but it'll outdo Propecia and Rogaine.
Really, from Allergen?
Allergen Corporation.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
So they
first quarter 2013.
Wow, that's something else. That's a fact, really. So I guess they've been busy this whole time, trying to grow hair on people's heads. I would imagine, right?
Well, they're working on it, and they're definitely seeing results, and they're working on different strengths of the of the active ingredient, and it works. It works for eyelashes. It works for eyebrows. There's no reason to think that it wasn't going to work for hair. We just have to know how significant the difference or cosmetic, what type of cosmetic significance the product is going to have. But it's always good to have something new. It's going to.
You think that's going to fly off the shelves?
Oh my God! Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I'll be the fucking first one in line at the pharmacy.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know how effective it's going to be. I do think my gut reaction is going to be more effective than Rogaine.
Well, the whole thing, with Rogaine, I still use Rogaine because I just never got off of it, but I use it once a night, and maybe I'll skip a night, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, Rogaine, I don't know. I know some guys that had success with it, but it just basically helps stop my hair loss. That was my first line of defense, and then obviously the Propecia and the PRP. But, Rogaine to me, I never really saw hair grow back. I think it just helps slow it. So,
I definitely had some positive success with minoxidil and Rogaine for a few years in my life, and I think that it kind of helped me to bide some time until I got my hands on ProScar.
Right.
And I got off of Rogaine years ago. I was able to wean myself off with that without having a massive shed because I kind of felt it was not doing anything for me anymore. And I think it's more like a Band-Aid for most guys. I think that it has kind of a shorter shelf life, so to speak, than finasteride. I think eventually wears off.
I tried twice, and it was just such a massive shed. I said, you know what? Screw it. Who cares? I use it once a night, if that. Some nights I forget it, and my hair is fine. So, why even go there?
Adipose, the allergen drug will have to be applied once daily as opposed to Rogaine being applied twice daily, if that helps your regimen.
But are they saying it's to stimulate growth, or is it actually like a stem cell, some type of that type of jazz where it actually cures it? You know what I'm saying? Is it more
it's just a growth stimulant.
Now, the growth stimulant that they use for the eyebrows, what exactly is that?
Well, they use it. Yeah, they use it actually for. It's been FDA approved for eyelashes, and originally it was a drug that was used for glaucoma, and they saw that. One of the side effects of using these drops for glaucoma, the patient's eyelashes were growing significantly thicker and longer. So then they began to test the drug. Again, another drug that was kind of found out or discovered by accident after it was being used initially for another application. So it's basically similar in a sense as far as, in my view, the type of growth you're going to get and the type of topical preparation. It's going to be kind of like Rogaine, but I think in the long run it's going to be more effective, and it may be something that is going to last longer than using Rogaine. Again, this is all speculation, but it's great that they're working on something new.
Yeah, absolutely. The two more questions is out of the whole Dr. Cotsaleris and Histogen world, anything come out of there at all?
Well, Costeralis is Folica. So Joe actually made a Folica update last week. Joe, you want to tell him?
About Folica?
Yeah.
Well, they don't, the bottom line is they don't really, they're not really saying, they're putting some patents out there, what they're working on, but they're very tight-lipped. I made a comment on the show last week. They're not saying anything, which makes me highly suspicious that they're on to something big.
Yeah, well, I can tell you in English what Joe is saying. Joe, no offense, I'm just busting your balls.
That's Staten Island.
Right.
I'm from Queens, Joe, so I understand it.
Yeah, but
oh, you are.
Yeah, originally from Queens. Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, Folica has been keeping everything very close to the vest. And they're not the type of company to get stuff out there online. They're not the type of company to put out press releases unless they have crossed their T's and dotted their I's completely. They're not just trying to get the press. The good news about that, in my view, is that they're a serious company with serious science behind what they're doing.
Big money too, right?
And money behind it. So I think that something is going to come out from Follica sooner rather than later. So
yeah, they got it. They got it. I mean, I would imagine, right? Come on, just.
I think that they're close to having it if they don't have it already.
And I have one more question, Spence. One of my friends, she's a woman. Surprisingly, I know women.
Good for you.
I know women. She started losing her hair, okay, and she texted me a couple pictures. She used to live down here in Miami. She lives back in New York City now. And
hold on, Joe. Joe, stop breathing in the phone, dude. Otherwise, I'm going to have to pot you down.
What? What'd you say?
Stop breathing in the phone so heavily.
Oh, I'm sorry. He was talking about a woman. I was getting very stimulated.
Yeah. She's actually a very good-looking girl, too. She started losing her hair in the part up top, like the crown area, okay? And it's getting bigger and bigger. She texted me a few pictures, and it's actually very concerning. Now, how do you know if that is alopecia areata or women pattern hair loss?
Well, basically, I'm gonna have to pot Joe down. Basically, a female pattern hair loss is really a overall diffused hair loss. It's not really a pattern; it's more unpatterned. But one of the most noticeable and telltale signs of female androgenetic alopecia is widening of the part. So,
which androgenetic alopecia is regular hair loss, or
that's common male and female hair loss, pattern baldness.
So, where should I direct her? I mean, towards you, obviously, but she asked me, and I didn't, because with women, I have no idea. PRP or
PRP is definitely something that's been helping a lot of women. I would definitely send her to the Women's Hair Loss Project, which is womenshairlossproject.com. Tell her to join the community, to go on to the the social network, and read, interact with other women. There's people have experience with specific doctors. It's women's hair loss is a very, very tricky issue. We have to know whether or not she was taking birth control or if she recently got off birth control.
Yeah, it may be a drug or something, right? That she's on.
Yeah, but usually, sadly, most of the women that are dealing with this are suffering with just common androgenetic alopecia, which could have been triggered by, the use of birth control or childbirth.
Could stress trigger that? Because she's been under, she's a really stressed. She's like a beautiful woman, like a really pretty girl. She's actually half Arabic and half Caucasian. She's like a gorgeous girl, but she's just a stress. She's one of those girls that just frets over every aspect of her looks, to her body, to this and that, and I don't know, she was in a bad relationship and this and that, and she's a stressed out girl. You know what I'm saying?
Look, honestly, to be honest, it's probably not stress. It's very rare that stress causes it, and you'd have to be extreme physical stress and extreme emotional stress, but it wouldn't happen in that type of a unpatterned, widening of the part. It's possible, most women have taken birth control at some point in their life. If she's having sex and she's an adult, she's probably using some form of birth control. Most women today are using some form of either the birth control pill or a hormonal patch, or like a ring, or one of these things that you insert.
And that makes her hair fall out for women, birth control?
It's probably the biggest trigger, in my view, for female pattern hair loss.
Now, if you get off of it, does it go away?
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And what's interesting is some people, by switching, a lot of doctors treat this type of hair loss with birth control, because they try to kind of balance the hormones out. It's a very, very tricky thing, and I hate to say it, but most women, the vast majority of women don't recover from it.
Now, let me ask you this. Everyone's mind out of the gutter, but my ex-girlfriend, she, her hair used to shed a lot.
Right.
More than, I grew up in a home with 3 sisters, women's hair falls out more, I think, than men's typically, where you see it more because it's longer.
Right.
But her hair used to shed, a lot. And she still has a full head of hair. Now, I met her mother, and her mother maybe was in, her late 60s.
Right.
And I saw she had a little bit of diffusement on top, okay?
Right.
So, she was on birth control, You know, I mean, and how do you tell as a woman before it happens if you're really shedding a lot, or you know what I'm saying? Because she used to be like, oh my, like, you know, in the bathroom, her hair would be everywhere, and like she would be like, oh, you know, my hair sheds a lot. It's just always been like that.
Yeah.
And you know, me knowing all about hair loss in the back of my head, I'm like, maybe it's not, you know. And then when I met her mother, you know, so how do you know?
Yeah, but her mother's already old. Her mother, you know, if she's in her late 60s and she just has a little bit of noticeable hair loss, then she's pretty lucky. Then that's very, very common. And you know, most women that age, they do not have a full head of hair. That's
right.
Like 99%. You know, I mean, they do not. Yeah, they do not have a full head of hair.
I mean, not late. I guess late, you know, 60s, late, you know, around there.
Absolutely,
but,
yeah. Most.
How does a woman know? Like, they don't. Or?
They do know. They know what their hair looks like. They know what's happening. They see a change. It's less difficult. It's more difficult to style. They see more of a widening of the part. You know, it's devastating. It is. I deal with so many women who have hair loss. We brought it up at the beginning of the show.
God bless. Jesus Christ.
You know, and it's so devastating for women. But you know what? So, you know, it seems sad, but a lot of, you know, what's great about, at least for women, they can wear great hair and no one's going to know except their most intimate relationships.
Well, yes and no. I mean, if to wear a wig, you know, and a really good one, you know, you can get weaves and stuff like that, but you still notice. You do.
You only notice it because they're not that good. I'm telling you.
Really?
That's right.
That's amazing, man.
You only notice it because they're not that good. If you see a woman wearing a wig, it's because the wig ain't that great. And
really?
You know, it's not just a wig. You know, it has to be like an integrated system where, you know, just like a guy's hair system, they make a very, you know, small lace top, and it's integrated within their own hair. It's
still a tough thing, though, to have, right, and deal with on a daily basis. I mean, it's another thing to deal with as a woman, right? I mean,
it's devastating, but you know, there are women. That's why I think going to Women's Hair Loss Project to kind of like enlighten her and give her a little hope that, God forbid, if it does get to that point, there are plenty of women, millions, but there are plenty of women on this particular site that they kind of show each other how they wear hair and what they do, and they're married and they have boyfriends and all that stuff.
I felt so bad, Spence, when I saw these pictures he sent me on my iPhone. I was like, oh, my God, because I know what I went through, and I saved my hair, and, you know, my hairline is still back, and I used the Topic and my, you know, but as a guy, and I saw what she was showing me, and I was like, oh, man, I mean, I felt the pain, and it's probably times 10, you know, and it's just, imagine that you're a woman and you lose your fucking hair, excuse my language, but I mean, it's like, oh my God! Like you probably think you're cursed. Like, how is this happening to me? When I know what I went through as a 21-year-old kid, and I saved my hair. No one ever comments on my hair saying that you lose. Nobody. Like my barber does. Like, and he's like, yeah, your corners went up a little bit. Like nobody ever does. And I kind of have a big forehead too, you know. But like, it's amazing how I saved my hair. And hopefully it'll stay like this until something comes out. You know, it's just really is amazing that I caught it. And it started for me when I was 21 years old. It started actually in college, but I didn't even really notice it that much, you know?
And what happened? You found the show, or how did
I found the Oracle himself, Spencer Coburn, and, you know, every dermatologist I went to was like, oh, just spray Rogaine in your hair, spray Rogaine, spray. I was like, all right. I was Rogained out like a madman. I was online. I found Rogaine with Retin-A. I started using that. That worked a little bit better. Boom, boom, boom. And then one day I was flipping through the. It was like you know, it's so funny how the mind works, because like that's all I was thinking about is how I'm going to stop my hair from falling. Literally, Spence, that's all I thought about for the most part. Okay. And then I'm sitting there thumbing through the radio station one day, and I hear you talking about hair loss. And I literally, as I was thumbing through it, you must have been like making a statement about hair loss. And I was like, what? And I listened, and I was like, holy shit. And then I started being an avid listener, and you spoke about Propecia. I went on Propecia, and I remember like the first 3 months on Propecia, my hair started to change. It got stronger. The texture of my hair changed. And then, boom, the hair loss just stopped. And I remember like just sitting with my head over the sink and just, you know, running my fingers through my hair and seeing no more hairs fall out. And it was great. And I just forgot about it. And I continued to listen to your show, and you know, it just stayed where it was. And I always cut my hair short, and I would cut it short, and it just, you know, I have like a number 3 on top and like a 2 on the sides. You know, they line it up and everything, but you know, and I never ever had a problem with it. And then, you know, when I came down to Florida from New York, I started to see a pickup in the hair loss.
I remember you called the broadcast around that time, And you had said that you had listened to the show for many years and that you moved down to Florida. I remember that.
I thought it was maybe the sun or, the stress. I don't know what the hell. And then I got the PRP, and it all grew back. I think what it was at one point in my life, the doctors, because what happened with me was my father passed away. I started to wig out a little bit. It was like the first time I had ever had like a real death in my life,
Yeah, it's
So
tough,
I started to really, it's horrible. And I started to wig out a little bit. Not really bad, but I started to have panic attacks, so on and so forth. And I'm in the financial industry. I deal with stocks, so it's like that combined with that happening, it was just crazy. So my buddy's like, I take Klonopin. You got to get on it. So whatever. I got on Klonopin for like 6 months, and that's when the hair loss started to kick up. And I think that's really what was doing it. And I never knew that would be a drug that would make my hair fall out.
Yeah, well, Klonopin, for some people, Klonopin does cause hair loss.
Yeah, and I got off it now. I don't take any more of those types of drugs whatsoever. I don't even have the anxiety anymore. It's amazing.
I love Klonopin. I just can't take it. I cannot have that shit around me.
No, me neither.
Because I would look forward to it. I'm like, walking a dog, I want to take Klonopin.
Sure. Oh, it's great. Listen, all those types of medications, some people need them. I knew I didn't really need them, but when you're going through something like that, you don't know, and then you go to the therapist, and they're like, this medicine will make you calm down. So you take it, And look, I was on that shit for like a year and a half, okay? Here's another thing, too, and then I'll let you go, is I had to wean myself off Klonopin after being on that shit for a year and a half. You know what that was like? Oh, my goodness. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. Okay, this is all at a time when I was working the hardest. I had my girlfriend. I was meeting her parents, all this type of shit. I got off the Klonopin because of the fact that I said, you know what, I don't think I really need this anymore. Okay, and then B, because of the hair loss. And now I'm completely off it. The only drug I take now is Propecia.
Right.
And that's it. And I think that reversed my hair from stopping it from falling out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
I'm glad. I take the ProScar and Jack Daniels, and that's it.
That's
really.
it. And a Viagra here and there, and I'm good to go.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
No, we love it. But I appreciate the time. Joe, it was nice speaking to you, and I'll call you guys pretty soon.
All right, man. Listen, good luck. I'm glad you're doing well. It's always great to hear from you. And, just tell that chick. Tell her.
Yeah, I need to tell her something.
No, really, tell her. Tell her womenshairlossproject.com. If she needs to contact us, she could write the program. She can say who she is. She can call the show. Tell her to call the show. I can give her some advice. All right.
You got it. Thank you, Sven.
All right, take care.
Bye.
888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Guys, and Ted, actually, who texted me, if you're getting pop-ups, commercials, when you're looking at the Stickam embed on the Bald Truth, you can check out Justin TV's embed. Just click play, or you can go to stickam.com, and we're usually on the main page. It doesn't show any commercial embed, pop-ups. Or you can go to gfqlive.tv, and I think that pretty much is relatively commercial-free. You can check that out and make it easier so it doesn't, interrupt the show. And if you just want to listen to the show, you can go to Stitcher.com and look up GFQ Network, and you can listen to the show that way. You can have download the app to your iPhone. So there's a lot of ways to avoid that. 888-659-3727. You are listening to and watching The Bald Truth. I'm Spencer Coburn. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
He's an international best-selling author, a contributing editor for Consumer Digest magazine, and the host of the longest-running reality radio show for men. I'd say he's the man.
And the truth shall set you free!
It's Spencer Coburn's The Bald Truth.
Hi, this is Amy in Orange County, and I'm calling to find out exactly what Dave the intern looks like. So I want to let you guys know that I listen to the Bald Truth every single week, and I don't have a shred of hair problems. I just dig the show.
She wasn't coming. I asked her where she was. She said, nowhere special tonight. That nowhere special tonight. When I got to Paris, I was shaking. I felt the way I did before we kissed. And on the last train
Hey guys, welcome back. 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. I'm Spencer Coburn. You're listening to and watching The Bald Truth, coast to coast and worldwide on the internet and through the GFQ network, the GFQ Broadcasting Network. Welcome to the broadcast. If you're new to the show, don't know who I am or why I'm here. Founder of the Bald Truth, author of The Bald Truth, the author of Truth About Women's Hair Loss, The Truth About Women's Hair Loss, the founder of the American Hair Loss Association, and I am a consumer advocate for men and women dealing with hair loss. And as crazy as that sounds, we've been on the air for 14 years doing this. And I'm happy to say that while it's not great to be a part of this fraternity and sorority, I guess, for all the women out there, it's not such a bad place to be if you're dealing with this. 2/3 of American men, and I think it's pretty much, the stats are worldwide, will be dealing with hair loss by the age of 35. 40% of the world's hair loss sufferers are women. And if you want to learn more about that, just check out womenshairlossproject.com. I was just telling our caller, Mike, to send a friend of his there. It's insane. And we are not allowed to talk about this issue. We're not allowed to discuss it in society. We're poked fun of. We're told to man up. To, just deal with it. Just deal with it. It's only hair loss. Just deal with it. Not a big deal. Deal with it. But you know what? Hair loss affects the hair loss sufferer's life in ways that non-hair loss sufferers can never imagine. So if we can't deal with it, or if we're affected by it, excuse us. Excuse me. It's not a great thing to happen to you. Deal with it. I hate hearing that bullshit. But the program is also here as a support group to, provide a place, a safe place for you guys and girls to come to learn everything you need to know, to get completely objective information about this crazy industry, and to let you know that you're not alone. An ongoing theme of this program and everything that I've done in my life and my career is it's pretty simple. In my view, it's important that my readers and my listeners and my users on my websites and resources know that there is life after hair loss. There's life after hair loss. And I can't tell you that we can save your hair, that the information I'm going to give you to help empower yourselves to navigate through this industry is going to help you to save your hair. But I can tell you this. It will definitely help you from being ripped off and being disfigured. And we're also here to help you just deal. Give us a call, 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. I may get drunk tonight. I don't know. I feel like drinking a little bit. I didn't start the show off drinking, but, sometimes I just, in the middle of the show, I'm like, I'm going to pour myself a drink, and I hope that you guys do the same thing. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Spencer, hey. TeeJay, how are you?
TeeJay, dude, we missed you so much, and I see you in the chat room, and I got to tell you that I was worried. I was actually worried. I didn't think that you would never come back, but I was actually worried that we lost one of our biggest fans.
No.
And friends.
Not at all.
And friends of the Bald Truth.
No, not at all. I'm not going to bore you with I'll tell you, on Sundays I've been taking this class. We have this Sunday off, which is why I'm actually home now, and it runs through the end of October. I would have been here earlier tonight, but a buddy of mine, a really good buddy, just had a daughter last night. So I was in the hospital today just, visiting him and his family.
Nice. That's great. Mazel tov.
It was cool. Really cool. But yeah, that's it, man. I've been taking this class,
Wait a second. Did you get taller?
Oh, shit, I would.
You look taller on screen.
Oh yeah? No, I'm just sitting here in front of my my little Mac, with the camera.
All right, good.
Maybe it's a higher stack of hair.
It might be. The hair actually looks fantastic, man.
I tell you what, Spencer, I cannot complain about my hair, man. I tell you, I'm one of the luckiest SOBs because I know there's this whole spectrum of different guys and on the hair loss scale, and you got those that have been, unfortunately butchered or whatever word you might want to use, and they're walking around with these ridiculous hair transplants. You got those that or medication doesn't work or whatever. I mean, I tell you what, I'm just a very typical guy in that, hey, I went down the hair transplant path. I got a little screwed up at the very beginning, managed to get myself turned around through some research, through running into the show, through personal help with you, and you're still one of the kindest guys I met because, there really aren't, in my opinion, or at least that I can find, a lot of people that give that sort of one-to-one help. That was one of the kindest things. And so now I'm walking around, I tell you, every time I get in my car and I put it in reverse and I look in the rearview mirror, it's like one of the happiest moments of my life because you just see your hairline right there,
I'm really happy. I'm really happy that you've experienced that and you had a good experience with the IHRS and the IHRS doctors and the Bald Truth and everything that we do. And you are lucky, because there are guys even, listen, the truth of the matter is you never know how a hair transplant is going to turn out, no matter how great the doctor is. That's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that things worked out for you.
It's really exceeded my expectations here. I mean, I'm not going to give the illusion that I've got a perfectly full head of hair, but I'm 38 years old. I'm climbing up there in age, and to have the hair that I have, and to have it by going down the surgical path, which is kind of like a gamble.
Right.
I'm very lucky and very happy, and I know sometimes it comes up. There's that rare guy or maybe gal out there. But I've seen a couple of guys like posting in the forum where they regret their hair transplant, or after a while they're just like, you know what, I should have just shaved it. I never ever think about that. In fact, I am so ecstatic over my hair transplant. Like I know a lot of people that are concerned about the scar and that kind of a thing. The only time I ever think about that is like when I'm on the phone with you and we're just talking in this spirit right here.
Right.
But I never think about the scar, man. I just think about these awesome results and how much how cool it is to have.
Well, I think that if you have great results and you're wearing your hair that, where you're not shaving it close to the skull, you don't see the scar, so you don't think about it. It's sight unseen. You don't think about it when it's not visible. And you're looking at how your face is now framed and how you have new hair. And for guys who are in the chat room, and if you can see TeeJay, he opened up his window, his camera. This guy was bald. He was bald. He had no hair. And in person, I would say that your video does not do your hair justice, TeeJay. When you met me after you bugged me for 5 years, or how many years? A year, to come down to the Westwood One studio, and you met me.
Yeah, it worked.
It did work. And you only had one repair transplant. After you went to Bosley, you had Paul McAndrews repair your transplant. It was only one session, very small session, and you looked great. Completely natural. Right. Then you went to see Scott Alexander and had more of a quasi-mega session. And, there's a guy, actually, again, anything can happen at any point. There's a guy that did not have a great experience that is posting with your doctor, your second doctor. And, he's posting all over the internet and he's unhappy where, and I try to tell these guys that not everyone is, biologically capable of, for whatever reason, growing all the hair that they should grow from a hair transplant. Or they may look at images online and feel, you know what, my hair transplant doesn't look like those pictures. Why doesn't it? Everybody's different, and I think it's so important that people know that, you had an incredible experience. Things worked out for you. They work out for most people who find the right doctor. But every once in a while, if you have unrealistic expectations or if just something doesn't go well, if the hair just doesn't grow for whatever reason, whether it's your fault or the fact that, whatever, the tech's fault, shit happens. And people need to be prepared for the worst, but hope for the best.
Yep.
So
yeah, you know, and I haven't seen his post, but you know, I'm a very, very lucky guy. Not only in that I managed to find some surgeons that produced some awesome results for me, and managed to steer away from the path of hell I was heading down at the early days. But I also have, you know, my hair texture. It's kind of thick and wavy, so when it transplants well, because you know it's got a little bit of a wave to it, so you get more coverage per you know strand of hair. And it's a little on the thick side, so when you know, it gives an illusion of fullness. And you know, with Dr. Alexander, you know, he really packed it on the hairline. So you know,
he's
things
good,
are
man.
looking good.
I got to tell you, he is good. You know, Kent Emmons, our friend, former CEO of National Lampoon Radio, and also just all around great broadcaster and great guy, ended up going to Scott Alexander after wearing hair for many years. Not many, for about 3 years. Very open about it. He looks incredible. I saw him the other day actually on television. He was doing an infomercial. I don't know if you've seen this local infomercial he does here in Los Angeles. And his hair is just unbelievable. He only had one session with Scott. As a matter of fact, if you look up, what is her name? Is it Emma? Why can't I remember her name? I think it's Emma Emmons. No, not Emma. Anyway, his four-year-old daughter just got cast for a major role on a hit TV show.
Okay, his daughter.
Yeah. So let me see if I can find that. But anyway, there's some video of him with his daughter. It's pretty cool, and he just looks incredible. And he's my age, complete Norwood, probably close to Norwood 6, and he only had one session with Alexander, and the difference is astounding. It really is. Alexander, in my view, is a real artist, man.
Oh, it really is. And to have one session and have awesome results is pretty cool, because I remember seeing his before. He was, you know, he was pushing the word 5, maybe even 6, right?
He was about a 6, I'd say. He was.
Yeah. So to come out of it with the, you know, it's interesting. I would have thought he may have gone back for another.
Well, he's considering it. I just want to say this is very funny, Suncast, if you're watching this. GFQ Network, which is playing my broadcast, has more people in their room or viewing the show than on my own goddamn feed. That's unbelievable. I gotta laugh at that. At least just the Stickam feed. But right now, I mean, it's a small chat, it's a small feed right now. But because we are now, I don't know if you heard it, TeeJay, you could hear us live on iTunes Radio.
Oh, that's awesome.
Stitcher Radio. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of people who are, you know, now have access to the broadcast live, and the show is now in replays throughout the entire week.
Oh, no way. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Dude, congratulations. I didn't realize your distribution just skyrocketed.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And, you know, we did it without you. I'm sorry you weren't here.
How's the pack? How's George? I know I saw Johnny in the chat room. Joe.
You know, it's funny. George, I wonder where George is today. He hasn't, you know, contacted us, and I haven't heard from him in a long time. I hope he's okay. Joe, I'm going to pot up right now. Joe is probably trying to talk to himself. Joe, you there?
Yes, I've been unfortunately potted down.
Yeah, I forgot about you for a second. I was so excited to hear TeeJay, man.
Oh, man, likewise.
Wow.
Sorry about that, Joe.
Hey, TeeJay.
What's going on, Joe? How things?
Well, I'm suffering every day. I'm a terrible hair loss sufferer. We don't have any treatments yet, so what can I say?
You know, there's no doubt in my mind that everybody already knows this, and it's probably been talked about already, even on tonight's show. But earlier this week, I ran into a headline on the internet about Latisse moving into, I guess, some next level trials or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly. Joe just talked about that.
Okay, yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah, Joe.
I was anyway. I thought of all you guys when I saw that article this week.
I'm sure you did, man. I'm sure you did. I mean, listen, like I said, this fraternity it's an odd little fraternity, but you know what? As far as demographics are concerned, we are the largest demographic of all human beings. No one, you know, for all you guys who are interested, all of you, you know, companies now I could say this that are interested in advertising on the Ball Truth, you know, car companies, beer companies, we reach the largest demographic of men. Period. It's not 18 to 34. We deal with guys 16 to 90 who are concerned about their hair loss. I've had guys who were like, there's one guy, I'll never forget this story. Woman contacted me about a 65-year-old man that she started to date who was suicidal because he started to lose his hair. 65 years old. At 65. He had a full head of hair his entire life, and he became suicidal because he started to lose his hair at 65. That's how it affects some people. Larger percentage of people than most people realize. So, you know, this is your demographic, advertiser. So, you know, feel free to contact us.
Well, most hair loss sufferers, I don't think are suicidal, but they just, like, as Marcus says, they live half a life.
That was a very profound statement by Marcus, actually, that, you know, there may be life after hair loss, but is it really a full life or is it a half a life? And I think it depends on the person. I think maybe TeeJay could, you know, because of what he's been able to recover, I don't know if his hair loss is really going to affect his life that much. Or what do you think, TeeJay?
Or, well, you mean now, or you mean could I have
now?
No. Now I'm pretty good. I mean, you know, if things took a turn for the worse, I'd probably get set into panic mode, and I don't know what would happen. But I will tell you that had I not managed to bring myself where I am right now with some good results, yeah, it would have. I mean, I guess it's pretty obvious. Yeah, it would have affected me. I mean, that's why I went down the surgical path. But now, no. I mean, now that I am where I am, you know, I can't tell you, I'm happier than a pig rolling around in shit.
Yeah. I'm glad, man. I'm glad it's kind of an ugly picture, the pig rolling in shit.
But let me ask you a question. You know me pretty well. I'm like a Noah 6.5, something like that.
Right.
Say I would have had a state-of-the-art hair transplantation. Do you think, knowing me and my expectation, do you think I'd be happy?
No. You would need like an Elvis head of hair to be hair
I need at least 40,000 grafts.
Yeah, I mean, you just and that's the thing. That's why Johnny, if you want to call in, feel free to call in. We can talk about this. You know, that's why Johnny to me is so much more reasonable as far as, you know, he's been, you know, in your situation. Has a bad hair transplant, but he said he would be happy just looking normal and not having a full head of hair because he walks around with the plugs in the front of his hairline, just like you do. He's lived that way for so many years, and now he's at a certain age, where I think he's 46 or 47 years old, that, you know, I mean, he can deal with having thinning hair because he's lived with worse than thinning hair for so long. You've covered it up with a hat and a bandage for so many years that, you know, you've kind of really been almost in denial as far as when you look at yourself in the mirror or when you leave the house. So you need a full head of hair. You told me that, otherwise you wouldn't be happy. But that's why I think a hair system would really, I mean, especially a guy you're in your 50s now, dude. I think it would change. I think it would change your life, Joe.
Well, I'm making one prediction: if they come out with hair multiplication, a lot of people will be having hair transplants who previously wouldn't be because the demand will be too high. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
Spencer, I remember. Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, on a slightly different topic, I remember last time that we talked, so probably a couple months ago, one of the things we talked about was a lot of the Propecia studies that, or I guess there was one that was published in, long-term side effects and those kinds of things.
Right.
And I know that's kind of a big deal. I was wondering if there's been any more news and or traction or anything in that regard.
No, the only traction has been on the internet. There's been no more news, and there's been no other peer-reviewed papers that I've been aware of. Yeah, remember that this was basically, and again, I have to state this, with trying to, a lot of people don't think I'm being objective, but I am. I make no money from Merck. Promoting the idea or promoting finasteride or Propecia or Proscar does not help my pocketbook, one iota. Yep. I believe that it helps people. It changed my life. And I think that most people that use this drug who might not be privy or might not have read all of the craziness that you read online about the drug, they don't suffer, for the most part, from adverse side effects. They just do not. There's no one in my personal life, and most of my peers now, the guys that I grew up with, the guys that I hang with, are on Propecia now. Not one of them has had an adverse side effect. Not one of them. Yep. I mean, nothing. One just had a kid. I definitely think, and again, to get back to that study, it was a study that was posted in an online so-called peer-reviewed journal. Great, initially online, and it wasn't what you would consider a double-blinded placebo study. It was a survey, basically. And the people that this particular doctor surveyed were mostly all part of a website, this Propecia Help website. There were already guys that have been suffering with these adverse side effects, whether they were psychosomatic or not. But they've already experienced these side effects. They've been experiencing them for a while, and they were part of this community where all they talked about were these adverse sexual side effects. Really not a blanketed study by any means. And as far as the study is concerned, I mean, it has to be blinded. It has to be double-sided. It has to be – you can't put it in the minds of these guys that you're going to have this adverse side effect. Because if you put it in the minds of guys, you can give them a sugar pill. If you say, this will make you impotent, they will be impotent.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
And conversely, in some cases, if you say that this is going to, make you a sexual rock star, the pill might work that way as well.
Yeah, me personally, it's been 3+ years, and I haven't felt anything negative from it. I mean, I definitely pay attention to my body. So far, nothing. So,
Dude, I've been on this drug, a much higher dosage than most of you guys, since 1995.
Yeah.
All right?
I go back, yeah.
I can get an erection right now.
Wow.
Just talking to Joe.
I got no problem with foot either. No, not an issue.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just, listen, I'm not saying that it doesn't occur. I'm not saying that's not a possibility. I'm just saying that it's a very relatively recent phenomenon that has taken off online.
Yeah, I know it.
So.
Do you think that study that was published may be like a catalyst for more studies to come out? Do you think
I hope that it is. I don't mean to cut you off, but I hope that it is. I hope that we can find some, real science behind this, because there are guys who are suffering out there.
Yeah, right. That's what I was wondering, because if more research is dedicated to the area, and sometimes I've seen, like in science, when an initial study comes out, all of a sudden it's a catalyst for a whole bunch of additional studies. And if that happens here, maybe we'll reach some truth, some scientific truth, or just learn more, so that we can all treat ourselves, but at the same time protect ourselves.
Absolutely. But what people don't tell you is, and what time is it? 6:41. Jesus. I actually have to go to a break in a second. But what people don't, women have been taking birth control, since the late 1950s. When did when was the pill put out? I think it was approved in maybe was it the early 60s?
1962.
It's 1962. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Now they're finding out that long-term use of birth control pills might cause permanent loss of libido, lessened sexual ability to have sexual arousal, all the same stuff that guys are concerned about as far as using Propecia. No one talks about that. No one gives a shit if women can perform sexually or if women feel comfortable sexually, because women don't. There's nothing visible. Women can have sex without being, necessarily that aroused. They don't have to achieve an erection. So but women are put on these pills at a young age. They pop them like candy. We do know now that, in my view, and at least from and I have to couch this, because you don't want the pharmaceutical companies attempting to come after you. But the truth of the matter is, a good majority of the women, or a good percentage of women that contact me or go through Women's Hair Loss Project, who begin the hair loss project, began after they either started the birth control pill or came off the birth control pill. It's a very common phenomenon. A lot of these women also complain of what we would say as men as sexual dysfunction. So, I mean, you got a handful of guys that are complaining about the same thing, but there are thousands upon thousands, millions of women taking drugs that have been proven through clinical data to cause lowered libido, to cause sexual dysfunction. This has not been proven yet. So why are all the guys bitching about this?
Yeah, I know it.
And that sounds insensitive to the guys that are really suffering, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound insensitive. I know that it's real. I know that it's happening to you, but we just don't know if it's somewhat psychological or if there's some other phenomenon happening that, it's just particular to your body.
Well, when I just Propecia for 3 years, it didn't do a damn thing for my hair, but actually had the opposite effect. It made me extremely, shall we say, aroused all the time.
You can say that. It's a little disturbing, but you can say that. And Froggy's right. The truth of the matter is most of medicine is focused on men. Most of these drug studies are focused on men. Women, sadly, are really second-class citizens, in my view, in the pharmaceutical industry. And a lot of the drugs that are prescribed or that are FDA approved for women are almost a second thought, an afterthought after it's been tested. These certain drugs have been tested on men. And that is true, Froggy. I appreciate that comment. You want to take another call, guys? What do you say, TeeJay? All right, I'm going to keep you both on hold.
I hope it's George. I'm worried about our boy George.
We'll
trying
see.
To come to Ohio.
I'm going to keep you both on hold. I'm going to keep you both
both.
brought up.
Thank you, Spencer.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hello?
Hello?
Spencer?
Yes?
Johnny.
Yeah, hey, Joe, my hair loss brother from another mother. How you doing? I didn't hear the, usually there's a sound before you.
Yeah, you know what? The phones are so screwed up. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I think they're pretty good tonight for the most part. So.
Yeah, sound good.
Good. So
TeeJay's good to hear from you, buddy.
Hey, Johnny, how you been?
I've been good. Been good. Your hair looks great. Hope your classes are going well, and it's good you stopped by. You're a sight for sore eyes.
I miss you guys, man. Every time I see something or hear, even when I'm enjoying my own hair, the fact that I've got hair on my head, I think about you guys. So I definitely miss you guys. It's been a while.
Thank you. Spencer, I'm sorry to hear about your father and his declining health.
Well,
I know that's tough.
I appreciate it. It is tough. I'm trying to be zen with it and just realize that, he's lived a long life. And, my goal now is just to make him as comfortable as possible.
That's basically all you can do. It's tough.
And I want to keep him in the house, and I just don't want to have to send him to some sort of a nursing facility because I would want him to be closer to me if that was the case. And I just think, that he'll go through even a more rapid decline. So, whatever, 24-hour care, whatever it takes, that's what we're doing. So.
Well, that's good. I mean, I just hope that it just works out for you.
Yeah, well, this is what I hope, and I appreciate that. I'm just going to be frank with you guys. I hope that it's clean and simple for him. I hope that it doesn't come to the point where he needs to be hospitalized and it's a long, drawn-out situation where he's in pain. And the sad fact is it doesn't usually happen that way in life. Usually our end, and this is just the reality of life, there's, a lot of times, you just end up, going to the hospital, being hooked up to tubes, and then, being kept alive for longer than you're really supposed to and in a uncomfortable state. It's not something I would want for myself, and it's definitely not something I want for my dad.
It's not the quantity of life, it's the quality.
That's right.
Well, I have a DNR on me.
Well, that's smart. My dad doesn't. My dad has actually, like 2 years ago, he's like, whatever it is, you keep me alive. So that's what I'm saddled with. But you know what? The truth is, it is what it is. I would definitely respect my father's wishes.
Well, that's good. I mean, at least he had the will that he wanted to live at that particular time.
It's interesting. For a guy who is so depressed his whole life and has talked about suicide and things like that, the fact that he wants to live like that, it just proves he's a survivor. That's why he's 88 years old. That's why he lived this long, because he's such a survivor. But
well, he's been through it, though.
He has.
I mean, literally.
He has in every aspect. He's had a very difficult life. So what's up, man? What's up with you?
Not much, man. I was just listening to Andrew and you earlier about your rendezvous, and I'm sure Joe was jealous because he got Jessica got to see the picture on your phone and he didn't.
It wasn't even a picture; it was a video, and even crazier, And it was. Well, I'll tell you.
What do you think of that, Joe?
The story briefly is that I took this video, Joe, or whoever TeeJay's listening, of myself, like a P90X video. Like I lost like 15, almost actually about 20 pounds.
Wow, nice.
Thanks. And just, wanted to have a record of it. I'd come back from the pool and I happened to go into my personal, my bathroom here in the studio, and my phone was on the sink. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a video of myself. Let me check this out. And I'm just actually being IM'd as we speak right now. And excuse me. So make a long story short, did that. Yvette actually went through my phone for whatever reason. She needed to find something, and I guess the camera was open, and she saw the video. And she's like, what the F is wrong with you? Why would you take a video of yourself like this? You're a lunatic, And she thought that maybe I was going to send it to somebody. She had no idea. Told that story to Andrew and Jess. Took a picture of Jess and Andrew at Carmine's, and Jess asked to see it. She remembered the story. She first took my phone and then chose to delete the picture because she didn't like the way she looked, and then went through my phone to find the video. She finds the video, and I'm outed right there.
Andrew said it was very, he liked it, so sounded good.
He liked it. I mean, what does that mean? He'd like to see me with my shirt off? That's bizarre.
No, he was impressed at your progress.
It's a bizarre, uncomfortable situation, TeeJay.
TeeJay, you think we can blackmail him with it?
Well, it's not like it's a penis shot or anything. It's just me. Like, I could take.
That's Chauncey, right?
Yeah, I could take my shirt off right here, and it's legal. It's not a big deal. No one's gonna say, "Oh my God, Coburn took a shirt off on the air." It's it's like being in a bathing suit, basically.
Right.
So.
Can you mail me a copy of that supposed for my records?
Yeah, I'll send you a copy, Joe.
Well, have your staff do that, please. Overnight it.
Dude, there would be no way that I would ever send any image of me or anything like remotely, shirtless or whatever it is through the internet. You have to be a complete. I know that you're just kidding, but you have to be a complete moron to do something like that, because you never know. They can Photoshop something. All of a sudden, they're going to Photoshop some infant's penis onto my body.
No.
And this is going to be put out on the internet.
Well, you've already got enough nuts out there as it is, giving you a hard time.
That's right. What'd you say, Joe?
Especially with all the psychotics who exist in the headless world.
Yeah, well, they can do that anyway. They can just take my head, put it on some guy's body, and just put it. I mean, that's just people are sick. It's a very sick world. And by the way, I think we're going to call this show, Suncast, Spooky Frank, because this is another warning to Spooky Frank.
Spooky Frank.
He's crossed.
I haven't heard that name.
Yeah, Frank has crossed the line, in my view, once again. Can
you give me a little background on this gentleman, because I've just heard, just today or tonight what this guy is. This been something that's been going on for a while?
This is a guy that used to call us on the program, used to call the show. I wasn't the one who coined the term or named him Spooky Frank. I think it was Dave Salazzo, actually. But who used to be my sidekick, or one of my producers. But he would call in, and apparently everyone thought he had a very creepy voice. So when he would call in, my producer would play like the Twilight Zone music or like Psycho, the Psycho music from the movie Psycho. And he was called Spooky Frank. He took offense to that. But he would also write, and he probably still does, he would send emails to doctors in the industry, to people in the field, asking all kinds of bizarre questions. He would call guys like Ken Washenik on a cell phone, just really creep people out. And these guys would then send me emails saying, "What is the story with this guy? He's asking about you. He's saying that saying things about you and the IHRS." And I mean, it's in my view, and I think in the view of most normal people, it was beyond an obsession.
Wow.
So, and then he was very upset that we would call him Spooky Frank on the air. And, I'm like, I try to explain to him, like, listen, Frank, I mean, you're anonymous at this point. But he's not anonymous to me because I know exactly where he lives and where he's called from, and I have his phone number. I mean, he's calling an 800 number, for crying out loud. How do you get a doctor's cell phone number, though? I don't know. It's funny because Ken Washenik contacted me. He's like, did you give this guy my cell phone number? I'm like, no. I have no idea how he got it. But he would send emails to Ron Shapiro and to guys, all over the internet. I mean, just really, Bill Rassman. And according to them, it was really crazy stuff. Really, and scary to some degree. in my view, and again, I say this because I have to, in my opinion, he threatened me on several occasions, and now he's continuing. He stopped for a while. He's sending me emails again. He sent an email to Dave Salazzo, who sent that to me today. And, you know, I just have to tell you, and Joe knows the deal. I mean, I was very kind, in my view, to this guy, and I'm not going to take this shit anymore. That's it. You know, we have the situation. We have all the old emails that he used to send. We have the threatening stuff. And I just think it's time that we contact the authorities.
I was about to say, yeah, that kind of stuff, just especially here. I mean, in California, it's not legal. I mean, I'm sure you know that.
Well, in California, it's not legal either. But actually, in New York, where this guy is from, it's called aggravated harassment, which is he could be actually arrested just by if I send an email or phone call to the cops. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Nothing has to be proven. He will be in jail, and he'll have to have his day in court.
Could you imagine if someone would actually use that type of energy and direct it in a positive manner, what they could accomplish?
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, I mean, to me...
Look, I don't know this guy's story, but all I can say is there's a lot of really sick people in this world.
Yeah, amen.
Well, so, Spencer, I'm sure he's listening now, so why don't you make this a final warning? You know what I'm saying?
Look, I don't need to make it a final warning. He knows the situation, and when they pound on his door and they take him in, and then he has to deal with the shit, that's just the way that it is. You know, I'm not screwing around anymore with this guy.
Well,
you shouldn't have to.
He will be in Central Booking a couple days with some very undesirable.
Well, he's actually in upstate. He's in upstate New York. I'm not going to give you the town, but he's in upstate New York.
Well, he will be in jail a couple of days before he gets arraigned before the judge. That's what.
Oh, dude, I'm going to make sure that it's dragged out. You know, I'm at the point where I'm at my wit's end with this guy. I let it go, and then he started to try to creep into my life again. It's not going to happen.
You've got enough in your life with your father and everything you're trying to do, you know, with your career. You don't need this type of BS.
No, absolutely, and I appreciate that. So,
well, nobody does really, to be honest with you. I mean, that's just going over the line.
You know, but you know, sadly, with that said, you know, I definitely think you know you kind of. I've always tried to be empathetic and realize, you know what, there's some issue with his mental capacity. There's definitely something going on there. But you know, when push comes to shove, you know, I have to protect myself and my family, and that's it. That's what we're going to have to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't let people run over top of you.
Absolutely. So what's going on in your life? How's your wife? And
we're arguing, but any day that ends with a Y, we're arguing.
Dude, I tell you, you know, Yvette and I have you know, plenty of issues, but the bottom line is I could not imagine my life without her.
Yeah, I agree, but you know, it just.
John, does your wife support you? Does she know how you suffer? Does she support you, or does she mind?
Yeah, she does. She does.
She does what? Support you or mock you?
Yes, she supports me.
That's good.
It's just, you know, they say marriage is an institution, and you should be in one. You know.
Well, look, I am not, you know, legally married. I'm legally married in the sense that I have a common law wife. So, you know, she gets half and I get half. That's just the way that it is. You know, we've lived together for so many years. But I honestly, you know, with all the issues that we have, with the, you know, just the, you know, are you all right, Joe? Are you all right? Are you having problems? Joe?
No, I suffer from acid reflux along one of my conditions. Something just came up on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. But you know, you're on the radio right now.
I understand that.
All right. TeeJay's enjoying.
You okay, Joe? I hear him muttering something in the background. I didn't hear what he said.
I just ingested some water. I feel much better.
Thank
you. Oh, okay.
All right, good. You know, Yvette and I mean, we have some, you know, fucking crazy arguments, and I'm like, you know, that's it. I'm getting the F out of here. I am done. And then I sit back and I think, you know, what would my life be without her? I'd be with some 20-year-old Russian bride. That's not so bad. But honestly,
but speaks no English.
Right, that's all right. No, but I mean, we built a great life together, and there's I trust no one like I trust Yvette.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And that's just the way that it is. And yes, would I be with a 22-year-old Russian girl? Probably. I might go that route, or I'd go
just don't put it on your iPhone, or Jess will find it.
Absolutely. Dude, she erased her own. I mean, I've never experienced. I mean, and listen, I love Jess, and she's adorable. And it's funny because she's so young. I look at her. Honestly, everyone says she's gorgeous, whatever it is, and she is gorgeous. She's a beautiful girl. To me, she's such a kid.
Right.
It's like I don't know what it is. Like I can definitely go, have sex with a 20-year-old Russian chick or whatever. But to me, I hang out with Jess, and even though like I'm working with Andrew now, and I think he's a very savvy businessman. He's going to be extremely successful, believe me, and I'm going to do my best.
I think so.
Do my best to help him out as well. They're so young, and his wife just seems like such a when you look at her, you could see how young she is. So it's like I know all the guys in the chat room are in love with her, whatever it is. To me, she could be my daughter.
Well, and I look in this chat room, and I look at TeeJay here on the screen, and I see Suncast, and I see how happy and smiling they are, and I really wish they would get married because I hate to see anybody that happy.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, I think you.
I don't know about married.
Yeah.
Oh no, pal! If you're you got to stick. You're not just going to stick your toe in the water. You got to dive in.
All right.
Yeah, Suncast says, who says I'm happy? You're going to be happy soon, Suncast. You're going to be making plenty of money. Things are going to take off.
Yeah, he will be.
You're not going to have to sit there with that curtain behind you, that shower curtain behind you.
Well, I wanted to get him a curtain. I want to take a collection to get him a curtain up that has the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. He's got that shirt on. It looks like Captain Kirk. So
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick him up like a nice, maybe a black velvet curtain, something that he can put a light on and shine it, and it could look a little bit more like he's in a studio. Are you cool with that, Suncast? I'll make Andrew send that to you.
I have to say this: Suncast is a very talented and very bright fella. I mean, he's definitely done a lot for the GFQ and for you.
Oh my God! You see, I mean, he made that new lower third for me. He's produced, and he's put together all the shows that are now going to be embedded on thebaldtruth.com. He's a great guy. He's a really smart guy too.
Very talented. He's definitely going to make his mark in this world.
Oh, he's still a kid. He's still young. Listen, guys, I got to go.
Okay.
But I want to thank everybody for joining us. TeeJay, God Almighty, it's so great that you're back. I'm so
good to see you, TeeJay.
We missed you a lot.
Oh, appreciate that, and likewise, man. And think about you guys all the time. And I'm not kidding when I say that.
And I appreciate that. Joe from Staten Island, what can I say? You did a great job tonight. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for doing your due diligence and getting the information out there for all of our listeners and viewers. And Johnny, man, thanks a lot. I'm glad that you're doing well, and just hang in there with your wife. Just walk away, take a drive. Just
it's just another day in the life. You know how it goes.
No, believe me, we're the same age. I know exactly how it goes. Man. I know exactly how it goes. I want to pot you guys down. I hope that George is okay, and everyone else who called in tonight. I guess Mike from Miami. I think we had somebody else that got through. I want to apologize for not having all of my lines set up. I only had 6 lines available tonight because I had some bandwidth issues, and you guys know the phone issues I've had. Hopefully next week we can have it all set up so we can have more callers reach the Bald Truth. TeeJay, I just potted you down, so thank you so much for hanging out. And let me give out the websites, thebaldtruth.com, ihrs.org for the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. Remember, each doctor that is accepted into the IHRS pays an annual screening fee of a minimum of $12,000 annually. So, need to give full disclosure as usual, just like we've been doing for the last 14 years. You want to get some general hair loss information, check out the American Hair Loss Association site, which is americanhairloss.org. Women, please, I mentioned this earlier like 10 times. If you're a woman dealing with hair loss, please check out womenshairlossproject.com. And if you want to interact in our forum, check out baldtruthtalk.com. You can join the forum, speak to others. Get information that you need. Interact with guys who are dealing, and women who are dealing with hair loss. That's baldtruthtalk.com. Until next time, I want you all to be strong, and God bless, and thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.
I'd like to thank all of my guests today. They did a swell job in showing us how easy it is so that we can really do it. If I can do it, they can do it, you can do it. But bye for now.